Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. Hello. My name is John Beer, and I'm the Student Experience Manager, but I'm here at the moment in the capacity as the School of History's Employability Officer. Welcome. Thank you all for coming. I hope you're enjoying. Hope moving weekend went well. I hope you're enjoying the start of Welcome Week. And thank you all for coming. You're obviously all really interested in employability and your employability. And come in. We were just waiting for you. Don't worry. Yes, the purpose of the talk today is basically just to talk to you a little bit about employability, what it is at university, what the School of History can do to help you, and what you can do while you're here to improve your employability as much as possible, and to introduce you to some of the support services and other agencies on campus that you might engage with in your time here to improve your employability. So I'm saying employability a lot, and I will throughout the entire talk, so just you have to accept that that's just the word of the day. What is employability and why does it matter? Well, you're going to want to earn a living after you get your degree, I assume. Many of you are going to want to go on and start a career at the point of graduation. And really the aim of employability development while you're here throughout your degree is to make sure you can do that as quickly as possible, as smoothly as possible, get the best start on a job, a career, whatever you do after you leave university. I'm not trying to jump ahead 3 years, you've literally only just arrived here. But this is the stuff you should start thinking about now and throughout your time to make sure that when you do leave, we're in the best possible position that you can be in. So there are lots of different definitions of employability development, what it is. But for me, it boils down to learning to find out what employers want, learning how to show employers that you have what they want, and then, of course, to be able to do a job once you get a job. And these are pretty huge tasks. You may think it's quite daunting things, but they're all skills. They're things that you can learn, and you will throughout your time here at Kent. So start with the basic and the obvious one. What do employers want? So for any job, you're going to have to demonstrate that you have skills and abilities and knowledge and experience relevant for that job. And how you gain and develop those attributes before getting to that point is entirely up to you, and it's what employability development at Kent is all about. You'll develop skills and abilities and your knowledge and your experience in your first job, in any job, in volunteering, in the course of doing your degree. And everything you do really does build towards this picture of what you as a person can do, what you as a person would do in a job or in a career. So to come back to that definition of being employable, it misses a key aspect of employee development. And it's, in order to have what employers want, you need to know what they want. You need to be able to identify what they want and then show them that you have it. It's very, very straightforward, but you have to put it in these quite straightforward terms. So employability development, at least for me, is about helping you to identify what skills you have, identify what's relevant for the job that you're going to want, and then to help you show employers that you have those things. And why develop your employability? Fairly obviously, competition for jobs is pretty fierce, especially in the last few years. You know, you'll hear people who graduated in 70s and 80s that having a degree meant you got a job. That is no longer the case, as I'm sure you're well aware. You are going to have to compete for jobs. And I've illustrated that competition with the little red man standing atop the bodies of his defeated foes. That can be you if you apply yourself to your employability development through your time at Kent. So, how can you develop your employability? You'll have noticed I'm going through this very quickly. I'm not expecting you to sort of absorb it and take notes now. I should say you might have noticed this talk is being recorded. It'll be available on the school's employability blog after this talk, so you can watch it at your leisure. And more importantly, everything we've covered here is either available written down and in more detail somewhere else on the university's website, on the school's website, and you'll be able to find out more about it at any time. So this is more to introduce you to these concepts rather than sort of tell you everything you need to know. So how can you develop your employability? There are loads of ways. As I say, almost anything you do, if you think about it, if you reflect critically on it, can be and will be employability development. Primarily, of course, your degree. The reason you're here to study history. You may be here to study military history, you might be here to study history and another subject if you're joint honours. History is a really good subject to study if you want a job, fortunately. All of the skills that you need to succeed in a degree and these are them, or some of them, I should say, are relevant to just about any job you might be thinking about doing afterwards. So every essay you write, every seminar you prepare for, every piece of work you do, or everything you do for your degree is relevant to the career you get afterwards. It might not be immediately relevant, the subject might not be immediately relevant. You know, you aren't necessarily going to be getting a job that involves lots of knowledge about the Nazis or medieval Europe or whatever, but the skills you gain, and the skills you build on as you go through your degree to get better at studying your subject, make you better at the job you're going to go on to do. But of course, there's so much more to your degree, or so much more to your time as a student, I should say, than just your degree. And there's lots of extracurricular and co-curricular activities and opportunities open to you whilst you're here at Kent. And again, I'm not going to go through all of these things. There'll be more information about all of them throughout your time at Kent, especially in the first year. And you can talk to me about them later, or I can answer questions later. But essentially, if you want to do something, do it, reflect on it, record that you've done it. It will almost certainly be relevant to your future career or employability development if you think about it in those terms. So, I'm talking about everything you can do, all these opportunities available to you. But what can you do in the short term? I say short term, what can you do now? If you take away things, what ought you really to be doing? And there are these 4 things, I would say. And you're going to hear more about some of these today. You'll hear more about some of these in more detail later on in the year. First of all, there's the Careers and Employability Award on Moodle. This is a Moodle-based short course. It's entirely a voluntary short course, but I strongly encourage you to think of it as compulsory. That's designed to basically introduce you to all the basic employability skills. There's all the practical skills of finding a job, literally how to find a job, how to complete an application form, how to write a CV, where to look for jobs, how to decide what you want to do. Lots of these practical things which aren't necessarily related to skills and knowledge and experience, but the basic core groundwork, if you like, of employability development. And the Careers and Employability Award on Moodle will help you do that. Working through that at your own pace, you can do it throughout the course of a year. You gain employability points for doing it, which you'll hear more about in a moment. And I'm actually going to do a very short sort of half-hour introduction to the award next Wednesday. 12 till 12:30 in Grimwood Lecture Theatre 3, but I will email you all about that so you'll know about it in more detail. But I would definitely encourage you, if you're going to do something on your employability in your first year, make it that, just working through that course at your own time, at your own speed. It's basically just some short quizzes, a few very short assignments to get you thinking about those groundwork skills. Other things in your first year, think about doing a year abroad or doing a placement year. This is something all of you can do between your second year and your third year. It's an option for any degree. Studying abroad, incredibly valuable, obviously gains enormous amount of experience and perspective, going to another country, learning under their curriculum rather than here. All very, very relevant and gives you great perspective to come back and finish off your degree in your final year. Doing a placement year is something I would encourage every single person in this room to think about doing if you want to. It is a great way to make your degree stand out from everybody else's. It's a great way to get a start on a job ladder. It's a great way to get some experience, to try out a career, basically. It's something that a lot of people, if you're thinking about going into something like teaching, will do. They'll go find a school, become a teaching assistant, teach for a year, and to think, is this actually right for me? Do you want to try out a career before you actually commit to it? And all of that you can do through a placement year. And again, you'll hear lots more about that and how you can prepare to do a placement year and find a placement later on. And that's not something you have to decide this year. That's something you have to decide beginning of your second year probably. So you've got a year to think about it and start working towards it. Make a plan, write a CV. You all have CVs probably, maybe. I would strongly encourage you, if you don't have one, to write it. For the Careers and Employability Award, you actually have to write one. This is one that you have to submit. And then rewrite it and keep rewriting it. Get advice on it. Go and speak to the Careers and Employability Service about your CV. Any record that sort of keeps in a very condensed, neat format your skills and your experience and your knowledge and abilities in a way that you can give to somebody else. And just having it on file, not having to just make it up when you come to needing a job, having to give it in, it's going to be useful to you. And the last thing I'd recommend you all do is sign up to the Employability Points Scheme. which you'll hear more about in a moment in more detail, but suffice to say, it's a scheme that rewards you for doing all of this. Anything that's extracurricular and helps develop your employability, you can record through the scheme, you get points for doing it, and then you can convert those points into rewards. Now those rewards might be quite basic, like I think Amazon vouchers were on the scheme, I don't know if they still are. And more importantly, you can get internships, other placements, other employability development opportunities through doing this. And you're going to do these things anyway, you might as well get rewarded for doing it. So if you do two things, it would be complete the Careers and Employability Award, which actually earns you 60 employability points if you do it, and sign up to the scheme. The fifth thing I would recommend you do, if you guys can do anything in your first year, would be to engage with the Careers and Employability Service, and more importantly, attend and take advantage of everything that's going on during the Employability Festival. That's going to start in week 2 on Canterbury campus, runs from the first 2 weeks of October, and there will be hundreds, certainly over 100, events, opportunities, workshops, sessions on a huge range of things designed to sort of raise your awareness basically of the careers you might go on to, particular skills you might want to develop, opportunities you don't know they're open to you yet. And of course there's the Careers Fair, which I think, I'm sure Jen will correct me in her talk, was and may still be the largest careers fair in the southeast of England, that side of London. We have hundreds of employers come to campus to meet you, basically. And though you may be in your first year now, you might be thinking, that's something to do down the line. Go along to it anyway. Take your first CV. You never know, the contacts you might make may lead to something in the future. And the Careers and Employability Service offer a huge range of other services beyond organising the Employability Festival. I'm not going to go into them in detail because Jen's going to do that in a moment. But just to say that the university has a dedicated service to support anything related to your career development, your employability development. They're located over by Keynes College. I'm sure you'll see them because they've cut some of the trees down now. You actually can see the building compared to how it used to be. And yes, do engage with them. So just before I wrap up my little portion of this talk, I wanted to mention this. I have been talking on and on about getting a job. You have to find an employer, you have to impress them with everything you know and everything you can offer them. That might not be for you. You might be thinking, actually, I'd rather start my own business. I want to be an entrepreneur or what have you. The university has you covered there as well. The Hub for Innovation and Enterprise is the university's support system, basically, if you are thinking about starting up your own business. And you can go from sort of that very first idea stage through to launch and beyond if you're thinking about starting up your own business. So it might not be for all of you, might not be for some of you, but if that's something you're thinking about as well, bear that in mind. Yeah, so I'm sort of drawing to the end of my little bit. I'm going to introduce members of staff from the other support services around the university in just a second. But I will say that we're here to help you. Employability development is entirely self-driven. We're not going to sit on you and say, you must do these things. You might have heard yesterday, or you will hear in the coming weeks, that there are a few employability skills embedded in making history, for those of you that are going to have to do that module. But otherwise, it's entirely up to you what you do and when you do it and how you do it. But I do encourage you to do it, to do something, not necessarily every week, but throughout the course of your first year, throughout the course of your 3 years or 4 years of your degree, or longer, to think about your employability, think about what you're going to do afterwards, and go for it, work towards it, do something that helps develop your skills and your experience that will be useful afterwards. And we're here to help you do that. I'm here, I'm the school's employability officer. I have open office hours that anybody can come along to. You can email me whenever and just say, can I talk to you about this? Can I run my CV past you? I would like to volunteer in this particular sector. Can you help me do that? I will help you do that, as will the Careers and Employability Service and their advisors. So if you are thinking about doing anything, get in touch with me and I'll help you do it. Or don't get in touch with me and just do it yourself, but do it. So I think that's it from me. I leave you with the picture of the little victorious man. And I will pass you over now to Jen Davey from the Careers and Employability Service, who will talk to you more about what they do. So thank you. I will find your talk. Which one's you? Nope. That one. There you go.
Thank you very much. Right. Welcome everyone to the University of Kent. As John said, my name's Jen Davey and I'm one of the employability advisors within the Career Service for Humanities. So I'm one of the faces you will see if you come in to see us, and I hope you do come in to see us. I'll talk you through the services that we offer as we go through, but you're sat here thinking, right, it's my first week at university, why do I need to think about getting that job right now? The fact is, you have to start thinking about that from day one. You are paying a lot of money to study your degree, you need to get something at the end of it. Unfortunately, we are past the days where just simply having a good degree is good enough. You need a lot more than that to get ahead. So as you see here, 51% of graduates received a 2-1 degree and 24% received a first, 2015-16. The competition for graduate jobs is fierce, it's extremely high. We don't just say these stats to scare you, it is a fact, it's a reality. So from day one, you guys need to think about what can you do to make yourself stand out from that crowd of graduates that will all be graduating at the same time of you, will all be looking for those same jobs. So employers in the graduate world are looking for people that have a broad range of experience. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be work experience. We meet students in the career service that haven't worked officially in a part-time role that's paid, but you might do volunteering, you might be part of a society, you might be on a sports team. All of this kind of thing enhances your employability because that enables you to use these skills and experiences in your interviews, your application process, because you're showing employers you're doing more than just study. It's an ongoing process. You do this from day one, right throughout your university life, and it does prepare you for the workplace. So you need to think about what will make me stand out from my peers and what will make me more employable as you go along. In the Careers and Employability Service, you don't understand when we're on quick advice sessions or we're running sessions, we say, right, who's been to the career service before? And we have final years in the room that say, oh, I've never engaged with you, I've never seen you before. And actually for us that's like, oh, it's like a dagger. It's like, why have you not engaged with us? You're a final year, you've been here for 3 years and you've not actually come to see us. You've not had your CV checked, you've not looked for opportunities. You basically need to do it. The students that we see in the final year that haven't engaged with us, haven't ever had a CV check, they've not talked to John about employment opportunities, you can tell the difference between those that engage with us and those that don't. So it really is up to you guys from day one to start thinking about what do you want to do when you finish, what opportunities do you need to start thinking about to get you to where you want to be whenever you finish your degree. So you're sat there, you've just started your history degree, what can you do with that? Anything. So many employers look, history is such a good degree because it gives you, as John mentioned, a wide range of skills. So this is just a snippet of what some of our students have gone on to do. So you can see it's basically anything: civil service, banking, gymnastics academy as a head coach. You wouldn't necessarily think, oh, okay, that's what I'm going to do with a history degree, but literally teaching, television, journalism. So it's not always related to history or humanities. As I say, you'll have a really varied skill set, which will be fantastic for pretty much any role you decide that you want to do. So yeah, you're not limited in what you can do, but again, it comes back to using the skills and the tools that we can offer you here at the university whilst you're here. So what do employers look for? So we talk about employability, we talk about you need to gain these skills. So what are they? So you'll see when you're looking for graduate roles, all of these kind of skills they look for. So teamwork, leadership, self-management, commercial awareness is a big one that a lot of employers look for. Resilience, are you organised? Can you manage your time? Can you communicate well at all levels? So getting different work experiences, volunteering, being in society are all opportunities that will give you some of these skills so that when you go for your interviews, once you're looking for part-time roles, internships, placements, graduate schemes, you can say, actually, here are my examples. Whilst I was at university, I did X, Y, Z. I didn't just sit and study, which is obviously fantastic. You need a good degree. But all of these opportunities that we talk about will get you to have examples that you can use and make you a really well-rounded individual. So, never too soon to think about your future. That is so true. So, what can we do for you in the Careers and Employability Service? So, help you find a part-time job. Create your CV. How many of you have got a CV already? Brilliant. Okay, that's fantastic. That's great. As John says, you need a CV, basically. So if you haven't got one, start thinking about what have you done. Make sure you get everything on there. Most recent first. So we see a lot of students that come in with their CVs and they haven't even got the university degree on there. And it's like, oh, put everything on there that you need to. jot everything down, then come into the career service and we will check it for you. We'll go through it, talk to John about it. You might never have interviewed before, you've got an interview coming up and you think, oh, I'm a bit nervous, I don't know really what to do. You can book a mock interview with us. So one of my team will run it as a normal interview, we'll give you feedback, so that a lot of students find that really helpful. What career option? You study in history, you can basically do pretty much anything. So you might be sat thinking, oh, I've started this degree, I haven't got a clue what I want to do. We have careers advisors in the service that will sit with you and say, right, here's some of your options, what skills have you got, and have like a careers interview that lasts probably about 45 minutes to talk you through, you know, what are your options, what do you feel you want to do. Skills workshops, we can help you find unpaid work, help you apply for graduate roles. So everything you need to know about us is on our website, which is at the bottom there, so kent.ac.uk/CES. You also need to be accessing something called Target Connect, which you can find through that link, and that will give you access to booking online for appointments for the careers service. It will also give you access to all the upcoming employer events we've got for EmpFest, which I'll talk about in a minute. So Target Connect is such a useful tool for you. Employers advertise jobs on there, so you really need to be using it. We have a Work and Opportunities Fund. So if you've got some unpaid work experience, you may be eligible for a bursary to cover you for travel expenses and that kind of thing. So again, details of that, if you've got something coming up, have a chat with us, pop in or have a look on our website. So this is the big thing we've got going on at the moment, EmpFest 2018. We do it every year. It's a huge event for us. You don't understand how much work goes into Employability Festival to get employers on campus that you guys want to meet, okay? So 1st to the 19th of October here at Canterbury, Medway's 2 weeks after that. We've got, as John says, hundreds of employers coming on campus to do presentations, skills workshop. Our flagship event of the year is the Careers Fair. This year it's on Tuesday the 16th of October from 10 till 4. You'll be able to meet many employers there, find out about their graduate schemes, their placements, summer internships you might be interested in for next year, and just get a feel for, hang on, what kind of people recruit people like me. And it starts you thinking, you're only first year, but it does start you thinking about what are your opportunities open to you. And I'm going to try and do a video about careers fair. Let's have a look. Have we got sound? It's jazzy music.
That you end up in the right career for you. We have all kinds of activities and events through the year, like this fantastic careers fair, where we have over 100 employers coming to meet you.
At the University of Kent, where we're hosting our careers fair. And certainly what the careers service attempts to do is enable students to gain skills, qualities, attributes, supported by their academic scores and courses, but also to do things outside of their course.
We come to the Kent Employability Fair as we employ about 6 IT students a year to work in our web team.
So we're here today from Enterprise Rent a Car. We're looking to hire students from the University of Kent. This year we had 25. We're looking to double that number to 50 next year.
We're Burgess Hodgson, we're based in Canterbury. We value Kent students, they come out very well rounded.
I think it's really great at Kent that we celebrate all aspects of your co-curricular experience. So whether you're volunteering as part of a sports club or society or getting employment alongside of your degree, you can all use those skills to translate that into a job after you graduate.
That gives you a feel for what the careers fair will be like. Oh, sorry, I'm
The
not
following video
savvy.
shows 2 examples of a student speaking with a recruiter.
Shush.
Sorry, thank you, John. Yes, that gives you a feel for what the careers fair is all about, what it looks like, types of people you might be able to meet there. So we really do recommend that you come along. talk to some employers, find out the kind of people they look for, and get a feel for the opportunities that are out there for you. John mentioned this earlier on, placement year. So at the Careers Fair, you'll be talking to people. They hire a lot of industrial placement students, and as John mentioned, you guys can do a placement year within your degree between stage 2 and 3. So it can be relevant to subject studies, but it's not a requirement. So if there's something that you're interested in doing, we recommend that you do one, because this will give you fantastic experience. There is a presentation during EmpFest, details there. So Thursday 4th of October, come along to the presentation, find out a bit more about humanities placement year, see if it's right for you, see if it's something you're interested in. Obviously speak to John or email humsplacements@kent.ac.uk and someone will come back to you. But it's definitely, as John said, worth considering a bit later down the track in your degree. And that's it from me. So I'm going to hand you over from Danny from Employability Points. But thank you for your time and thanks for coming today. All right, let's... Where's your... Not that one. No. That's the one. Just behind us, yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Hi everyone, I'm Danny, the Employability Points Assistant, and I'm here today to tell you all about the EP scheme and why you should get involved. So the Employability Points scheme is unique and exclusive to the University of Kent and aims to bridge the gap between education and employment. So anything you're doing co-curricular we'll be giving you points for, and you can cash these points in for exciting rewards that will take place over the summer, and these include internships, work experience, training and more. So as you've already heard, the job market is becoming increasingly competitive and employers want graduates who've achieved a lot more than academic success. A greater focus is being put on work experience and real life skills. So EP therefore encourages you to gain soft skills by engaging with co-curricular activities and rewards this with the work experience necessary to succeed in today's job market. So why get involved? Some more scary statistics for you. Statistics show that over 80 graduates apply for each graduate job on average, and about a third of vacancies are secured due to undertaking work placements. So think about how many graduates are finishing degrees in the same course as you with nearly identical academic skills and qualifications. How are you going to stand out? So the EP scheme is a means to do this. Ultimately, you're meeting the employer's demand for work experience and real life skills, and the scheme itself mirrors the world of work as there's still competition for the placements that we offer, encouraging you to push harder and achieve more. The EP scheme can enrich your university experience and, as you can see, be of real value to your employability. So how does it work? It's nice and easy. You just take part in co-curricular activities, which you're going to be doing anyway. You then tell us about them on our MyFolio system and you get rewarded. So there are absolutely loads of things that you can be doing to get employability points. You can become a student ambassador, a student mentor, do the Global Passport or Gold programme. We've got Amber who's going to tell you all about Kent Union. You can do loads through them, and as you've heard already, there's loads of wonderful things you can be doing through the Careers and Employability Service, and you do get points for all of that. You can do Study Plus courses, Global Skills Award, any workshops or lectures that you go to that aren't compulsory, like this one today, gets you points. So if you want to log this lecture, you've got 5 points for being here today. So claiming the points is very easy. You just have to go to the university's MyFolio system, which can be found on the university homepage or via the EP webpage. You've all already got accounts. It's just your university email address and password. Once on the site, you go to the EP dashboard, you click that big green button, and then you just tell us exactly what it is you've been up to, and we give you points. So it's nice and easy, but if you do get stuck, there's also a handy how-to guide on our website. So points available. We have a look at anything you log on the system and we give you points. So for the different activities, there's a classification for awarding points, and some examples can be seen here. So for example, if you're joining just kind of a normal society, you'll get 5 points for that. If you're doing sports or music, you get 10 points, and if you join an academic society, you get 15 points. So the more relevant anything is towards your employability, the more points we're going to be giving you for it. So we also offer a range of points for certain categories, and we judge every case individually. So towards the end of term 2, you have the opportunity to cash in your points. As you can see, if you've engaged heavily with the scheme and earned 200 points or more, you can apply for an internship, and this would be paid and up to 3 months over the summer. 150 points will get you work experience. This is unpaid, but there's often help towards travel costs, and it would usually be around 2 weeks. But even if you've only got 50 to 75 points, we have amazing employability sessions and vouchers available. So So how do you get rewarded? In March, we're going to freeze your accounts and send you a rewards pack with the amazing rewards that you personally qualify for. And if you don't want to apply for anything at this point, you don't have to worry, you'll keep all your points and they'll just roll over to the next year. If you apply for work-based opportunities, you get invited to an interview in May, and if you're successful, you undertake your reward between June and September. So we can't guarantee you your first choice, but we do everything we can to make sure you get something that you want, and if you're unsuccessful in an initial application, we'll offer you another reward. Here's some pictures of our lovely rewards evening from this year. So this is an event that we hold once a year, and the very top performing EP students are awarded prizes, and all the attendees have the opportunity to network with the sponsors of the EP scheme. So last year it was held on the Medway campus, and this year it's coming back to Canterbury. Here you can see the amazing companies that were involved with EP last year, and as you can see they're from a huge range of sectors. There's companies ranging from large corporates like PepsiCo and Enterprise Rent-A-Car, opportunities in the public sector in several councils and a number of charities. So if you know what career you want, or you just want to try out a sector, chances are there'll be an EP reward for you. So here are some history-specific rewards that you might be interested in. Last year, Canterbury Cathedral offered work experience in their library and archives. The Historic Dockyard Chatham offered work experience in their collections department. The National Trust offered work experience as a conservation assistant, and Royal Engineer Museum has already signed up again this year, and they're going to be offering 3 work experience placements in the collections and archives, as well as an exclusive behind-the-scenes tour of the collections and an employability session with the head curator. So, in conclusion, the university gives you brilliant opportunities to get involved with absolutely loads, and it's never too early to get involved with EP. I spent 4 years as a student at Kent, and I only got involved with EP during my final year as a postgrad. I got some brilliant work experience as an events assistant at Waterstones, which then led on to further publishing work experience. But obviously, if I could go back now, I'd start in my first year and have work experience every year through EP. So plan to finish university not only with a top degree, but with the skills and experience that employers want. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, and you can keep up to date with all the companies that are getting involved right now and all the amazing rewards that they are offering. Thank you very much. I know you're having loads of information bombarded at you at the minute, so take a leaflet and then you can take a look at it later when it all sinks in a bit more. Thank you.
Okay, hello everyone, my name is Amber. I was a previous student here. I've literally just finished my postgraduate degree in marketing and did psychology before that. So this is all quite new for me. I'm now working full-time in Job Shop, which is a service run by Kent Union, and I'm here to tell you more about Kent Union today and what you can get involved with. So in case you didn't already know, Kent Union is your student union. We're here to help you basically have the best time at Kent. So this is in the way of about supporting your academic development with co-curricular activities, which my previous colleagues have already mentioned. So that's sort of things like the sports clubs and societies. We have absolutely hundreds of things you can get involved with Kent Union. So what they do is they'll support all of those societies all throughout the year, make sure that you've got funding, make sure that they help you with electing committee members all throughout the year so that you can get involved with absolutely anything that you want to do, whether it be sports club or like charity work. So other things that we do also include running the venue nightclub, so we make sure that you have a good nightlife. We also help you with representation at the university. So I don't know if you already know, but you already have student elected officers who actually support your academic development by challenging the university to make sure that we've got all of the things that make your experience amazing. So make sure to get involved and know who those student representatives are. Another thing you can do whilst you're at Kent is also a change it online petition. So if you ever see anything and you're like sort of not very happy about it, with Kent Union you can challenge it by putting up a petition and asking your fellow students to sign it, and we can make sure that your represented officers can go and take it to the university and see if we can implement that change. So there's always things that you can be doing through Kent Union. So Kent Union, we help you prepare for life after Kent, and you'll develop so many skills along the way. I have to say I had the best experience in my 4 years, particularly with running societies. I actually ran a volunteering society called the Kent Uni Boob Team, And essentially it was a breast cancer awareness charity called Copperfield, and we were a subsidiary of that. And essentially I used to go around campus dressed as a giant boob. You might see someone at Freshers' Fair still doing that today, because the whole point of it was to get students to start checking their breast tissue, and we had a great impact during my year as the president, and we managed to make things called Boob Week and like do a whole campaign and get loads of students interested. And now I don't know if you're in student accommodation, but you might have seen a shower hanger in your accommodation room as well that said check your boobs or check your pecs, and that was implemented by me about 2 years ago to help like that continue really. So you can do all sorts of things while you're at Kent to make a positive change. That's just a bit about what I did. So what I'm going to do today is just show you a quick video about all the services that Kent Union offer, and then you can ask me any questions at the end.
Hi, I'm Rob, and I'm here to let you know what opportunities Kent Union can offer you whilst you're here on campus. So, what is employability? Whether you're in a paid role or a volunteer, you're learning all the time, and you should record all those skills. Employers will be looking for them, and they will set you apart from the competition. There are loads of job opportunities available to you on campus, from bars and nightclubs to the shop and the main Kent Union offices. If you're looking for work, Job Shop should be your first point of call. You can find Job Shop next to Essentials and Blackwell on the main plaza.
Job Shop is a Kent Union run advertising agency. We promote jobs that are part-time, temporary and seasonal for students at university. The Job Shop is open from 10 to 4 p.m. Monday to Friday, so if you do have any queries about any of the jobs that we have, or you want to talk about your work eligibility requirements, you can come and talk to us at any time.
You can make any job relevant to your career. Whatever skills you learn, they're all valuable. Last year, Job Shop advertised over 5,000 jobs, and over 900 of those were on-campus opportunities. So you're bound to find something that suits your lifestyle and your commitments. You can check out the latest vacancies on the Job Shop website or by checking out their Facebook page.
My name is Seth, and I am a postgraduate student at the University of Kent. When students are looking for a job, they often talk themselves out of it by thinking, oh, but I've got enough money to get by, so I don't really need to get the job. When really you should think, what can the job do for you?
Loads of those on-campus opportunities come from Kent Union. Essentials employ around 150 student staff, and all the money students spend in the shop goes back into the union. If retail isn't for you, you could get experience and skills from working in one of our catering and licensed trade outlets, such as the Venue, the Parkwood development, or our street food service on the plaza.
Hi, I'm Jane. I work over in Essentials as a graduate training retail manager. Before I started this role, I worked as a student staff member for just over a year. During that time, I got to work alongside the career staff as well as other student staff members and the managers. Another thing that Essentials and the retail team do really well is training their staff ready for the job roles that they're going to fulfil. So I was really intensively trained as a student staff member, and then as a team leader and a duty supervisor, ready to prepare myself for the role of GCM so that I fully understood what each job role entails and was ready for it as best I could be.
Not everything you do has to be paid. Kent Union offers volunteer roles that are designed around improving your employability skills. Plus, it looks fantastic on your CV. We have over 2,000 volunteers carrying out over 3,000 roles, from one-off events to long-term experiences. If you're interested in journalism, a great opportunity might be volunteering within student media. We have a newspaper, TV channel and a radio station. Our volunteers are all part of an amazing community, and you can be part of it too. Kent Union looks out for your academic interests, and we couldn't do it without our team of volunteers. We have a team of student reps who work alongside schools to represent what you want to see. If you would take your representation role one step further, you can become a Kent Union part-time officer. Every year, a team of part-time officers are elected to develop skills in campaigning, representation and negotiating. As a charity, Kent Union has a board of trustees that oversees all the work we do. Student volunteers are key to this, and you can become a student trustee and learn skills in strategic development, analysis and how a charity runs. Whether you're working or volunteering, you will have access to training and support to help you carry out your role. You can undertake training in management, leadership, marketing and more. Just by being a member of Kent Union, there is plenty available to you. If you're part of a sports club or society, you are learning valuable employability skills. such as volunteer management, teamwork and communication. And if you can't find something that suits you, maybe try getting a new society off the ground. Every year, our members elect new committees for their societies, so you could take your role one step further. Every year, 5 elected full-time officers head up the union to represent you. The skills you learn as a Kent Union officer are too varied to list. So, we've got someone who can explain it a bit better.
Hi, I'm Ruth. I'm the president at Kent Union. And my first year, I joined loads of clubs and societies. And then my second year, I ran to be on committee, so I was the vice president of the Sailing and Windsurfing Club. In my third year, I wanted to take on some more leadership roles, and I was really enjoying it. So I ran to be a student trustee of Kent Union, because I wanted to know more about the organisation. I ran to be on the Team Kent exec, which meant I looked after loads of sports clubs with the VP Sports. And then I also ran to be the president of the Sailing and Windsurfing Club. All those volunteering roles were amazing experience in leadership, communication, organisation, teamwork, and it gave me the confidence I needed to run for SAD, which was incredible, terrifying, but incredible. And that experience has now meant that I feel really confident going into a future career.
So, how do you show all the amazing skills you've learned once you've graduated? We have an employability toolkit. You can use your training, your roles, your hours, your skills, and at any point you can print off the skills you developed, which is especially good just before an interview. You can access the volunteer toolkit on the Kent Union website. Good luck in your time here at Kent, and we look forward to seeing all the great things you get up to whilst here at university.
Hi everyone, I'm Aaron. Your groups, your societies, your communities can give you the skills you need to get a job, and it will actually future-proof you, because your skills will never become obsolete. Join a club, join a society, join a volunteering group, become future-proofed, gain knowledge, gain experience, and become more employable.
Okay, fab. So as Aaron said at the end of that video, what we're trying to do at Kent Union is to future-proof you so that when you go out into the graduate market, you've already got lots of skills and you've had lots of experience through all of the opportunities that you were given at Kent and through Kent Union. So I hope that gives you a bit of a snapshot of all the things that you can do whilst you're here. So thanks for listening, and come and ask me any questions if you've got any. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Amber, and thank you everybody for talking today, and thank you all for coming on to listen. I think we've got one more person to come up and speak to you today, Dr. Ben Marsh, who's our Deputy Head of School.
Thanks, John. Hi, everyone. I didn't get a chance to meet you yesterday, so I just thought I'd use this opportunity to say hi. I'm one of the 2 Deputy Heads of the School of History. I'm the one whose accent you can hopefully understand. You may have heard from Tim Bowman from Northern Ireland yesterday, but it's nice to see so many of you survived hand, foot and mouth from petting animals or burgers, and good that you've had a chance, I think, to think about this stuff today. That was I just sat through that as well, and really interesting. It was a lot of information to take in as well, and there's going to be lots more of that kind of information this week. So I guess I'm just going to finish, because one of my briefs, which is a new brief for a member of staff in the school this year, which hopefully shows that we're taking it seriously and moving in some new directions as well, is to think about student experience and to think about employability. And I just urge you maybe to finish today just to think about connecting some of those dots. It's not going to be possible to do all of that stuff now. Some of it's quite scary. There's lots of upheaval going on already, and you're getting used to new assessments and new assignments and new systems and everything like that. But if you can log on to that system and start to track your employability points, if you can dust down that CV that you may last have used for UCAS purposes or something, look at those weeks of the Employability Festival coming up and just start to connect a few of those dots together, because I think where you really start to make progress with this stuff is where you can connect what you're doing in your degree and what you're doing, as it were, in your real life. Stuff that you're already interested in, that you're already doing, that you're hoping to maybe elaborate, or new stuff that you might do because of societies and some of those great initiatives and opportunities that you've just heard about. But do make a proactive effort to see those 2 worlds connecting together. And I'm going to try and close with a kind of big picture view here, which is about history. And I think the history degree really is well set as a degree for the 21st century. People tend to look at it as something that might be a bit archaic. Some of you may be concentrating on, I don't know, tanks in the early 20th century in a dissertation. How is that going to, when you're trying to talk to somebody from KPMG or at one of these employability, how is that going to work together? You need to do some of this work connecting the dots up, but there's loads of help for you to do it too. And think about how those extra curricular interests link up with what you're doing in seminars. Because in every history seminar that you're sat in this year, there will be the opportunity to show some of those words that we just heard about: leadership, communication, resilience, depending on where you buy your coffee before the seminar, corporate awareness or whatever that one was. There will be these opportunities to connect those things together, and there are loads of projects flying around that if you don't have a sense of that connectivity, that you might miss out on. So as you walk out of the Gulbenkian today, for instance, you're going to pass a huge weird looking metal box that might be, hopefully if it's plugged in, will be emitting noises. And a handful of history students this summer, this is part of a project I've been involved in connected to the Age of Revolutions that involves partnerships with museums, and hopefully some of you will have the opportunity to get involved as volunteers and ambassadors as we renew some of the faces and some of the bodies in the next year's activities. But this is an installation, it's a piece of artwork, and as part of the artwork they like to get some information about the history of riots in a particular area. So at the end of the summer, suddenly I needed to get 6 or 7 people together to pull together little 300-word snippets which will eventually become a pamphlet somewhere at the front of the Gulbenkian. And a handful of history students, some of them were first year, some of them were second year, some of them were third year, stuck their hand up and said either because they were interested in the history of riots, or they just happened to be on the left, or they liked the artwork, or they were intrigued by the project, or they had a bit of spare time, came forwards, and I worked with them and we put them in touch with some other historians. They did a bit of research, they produced 300 words. Now they've had the chance to meet Jimmy Corti, a famous kind of international musician and artist who famously burned £1 million at some stage. We can talk about that another time. That wasn't very employability friendly to some extent. And had the opportunity to meet them, and they're now the people, when I think about, okay, I've got another project coming up, these two in particular did a really, really good job, and I'm going to think of them when something else occurs. So you start to build these kind of connections both within your degree and beyond your degree. So try not to let them drift into different spheres, and I think that's really important for history and for historians as a whole. It's not just scary stuff in the marketplace for you guys. It's not just what's coming at you intellectually and academically and in terms of job prospects to come. We've got Brexit on the horizon. In terms of the structure of history itself, there's loads of exciting things happening and lots of slightly alarming things happening. And now is a time, I think, for all of us collectively to roll our sleeves up and get involved with one another in supporting one another's activities and getting involved in the world around us as well. History as a discipline's changing too. It's not just about books and archives. We often get this thing, you can't all become archivists. There's not enough archives out there. That's not going to happen. But the format of the history that we're working on, you'll be thinking about this in the Making History course, many of you, in the weeks to come, is changing too. Things are becoming digital. We're having to work with qualitative, quantitative sets of data in different ways. We're having to be flexible. And having to do all of that in a 21st century history degree really positions you well for the sorts of mixtures that we're now getting in the workplace out there in the real world beyond the campus. So thanks for stealing a bit of time at the end. I also noticed that you applauded 2 people who gave presentations, but you didn't applaud everyone. So that may be a qualitative judgment call, or that you're really impressed with the later PowerPoints or whatever. But I think it would be incumbent on us to give a bit of a thank you to everyone that spent their time explaining that, and do catch them either at the end or by following up the PowerPoints in the recorded lecture afterwards. So thanks for your time. Good luck with the rest of Freshers Week. I'll see some of you in various courses on American history or making history in time to come, which I look forward to. And feel free to grab me at the end if you want a quick chat about anything. Okay, thanks. Thank you. Thanks, Sean. That was great.
No, that was really good.